Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
When I went off to college, shout out to Beloit College, go Bucks, Beloit, Wisconsin. When I went off to college and met with my advisor, he asked, well, what do you want to study? I said business. Well, Beloit at the time didn't have a business school. So, it's a small liberal arts college. They're just not set up like a state school. You have all these different colleges within one university. It's the college. And so anyhow, he slotted me into economics and management, which fit well. At any rate, one of the classes that I took right out of the gate was economics, Econ 101. And what they teach you in Econ 101, or one of the first lessons they teach you is, and this is the cornerstone of economics, and there's certainly exceptions to it, but human wants are insatiable. So people, that's the premise behind what all the modeling in economics is that human wants are insatiable. People always want more. And there's a lot of truth to that if you stop and think about it. I mean, you have people out there with lots and lots of money and they want more, right? I mean, it's just, you get out in the working world and you're making good money, and it's like your wants expand to that need. You're hanging out with other people who are making good money and they've got really cool cars that are, just like you. And so you want more. We're just this continual rat race of wanting more and more and more. Human wants are insatiable. Let's come back to that. I tell people in networking, if you want to get networked, the thing you need to do is, it's not about really what you have to offer, but if you want to attract people to you, it's what you can offer to other people. And so a great way of getting yourself networked, a great way of endearing yourself to other people is being willing to give to other people. Find ways to help other people, not necessarily just giving money, but, referrals, encouragement, whatever it is. Information, insight, whatever it is, always be willing to give to other people is what I share with people. So become a giver. But there's a pitfall to this. There's a pitfall to this giving, and I got to really thinking about this back in October. I get a daily newsletter from Michael Roderick. He's a consultant out there, Small Pond Enterprises. I will get something in the show notes so you can subscribe to his newsletter as well. But he talked about giver burnout. It was actually in his October 13th edition, but he talked about giver burnout and that he'd run into lots of people out there who were connection rich and cash poor, meaning they were kind of caught in this endless cycle of giving to people, but not really being primed to receive. And he said something in here that really jumped out at me. And he said this is if you're experiencing giver burnout or might be headed that way. He said, you're always teaching people how to respond to you. I'll say that again. You are always teaching people how to respond to you. Every interaction you have with others creates a categorization in the person's mind about us. And so if you're a giver, which we should be, they kind of categorize you as a giver. Now, again, back to my economics lesson, human wants are insatiable. So if you get categorized as a giver, hey, Bob's a great person. Every time I go talk to Bob, he's a wealth of information. He's got somebody else to connect me to. That's how you see Bob. And you seek out Bob because, things are a little slow. I'm a little behind quota this month. I'm going to go see Bob because every time I've talked to Bob, he has sent me a client. And Bob in this situation may well be experiencing burnout, because what people lose track of is the notion that that Bob Bob's human too, and Bob's wants are insatiable. So a lot of times we look at people who are givers and we say to ourselves, well, they're givers. They must have everything they need. No, they don't. They don't have everything they need. Um, they might be on the sixth rung of life. Look at life as life and success is this ladder, and they're on the sixth rung, and you're on the second or the third. Well, they're going to have more for you um, because they're a little higher up. But when you start to climb up and you get to the fifth or sixth, they still might be a giver, uh, but they don't necessarily have things for you. Um, but those people need things too. And and so we need to recognize a couple things, a couple perspectives with respect to this. If you are a giver, you need to you need to guard against burning out. You need to guard against people who just indiscriminately come to you and say, "Hey, I need this or I need that. I heard great things about you." Um, and I've run into that pitfall um, where people, "Hey, I heard you're really connected. I would like to talk to you." Now that person's not saying, "Hey, I heard you're really connected. I want to talk to you. I want to see what I can do for you." What they're saying is, "Hey, I heard you're really connected, and you could probably do something for me. Would you give me your time to connect?" And I tried to guard myself against those situations because 99.9 times out of 100, that person is going to come to you hat in hand and not really be concerned about what they can do for you. They're in it for themselves. Their human wants are insatiable, just like anybody else's, and they're looking to get at the least amount of cost. Now, if I went to that person and said, "Yeah, I'd be willing to help you, but it's going to cost you this," what's what inevitably happens, and I've seen this happen, where people will come to me and like, "Hey, I'd really like to kind of be coached by you to learn how to network." It's like, okay, great, this is, I'll work with you, but it's this package, and we'll have X amount of calls, and it's going to cost you $2,000. And at that point, you can hear the brakes in their brain going, "Err." Well, let me think on it, and then you never hear from them again because they're looking for something for nothing. And so you need to kind of guard against those sorts of things if you're a giver. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, okay, um, what is, you know, what comes of this, right? What comes of this? In the book Give and Take, Dr. Adam Grant talks about the notion of being otherish, being selfless and being otherish. And if you're selfless, hey, listen, I'm willing to spend 30 minutes to talk to anybody at any point in time, helping them with whatever it is you do, financial advice, accounting advice, marketing advice. You're going to run out of hours in the day. But if you have some qualifiers with respect to that and say, okay, you know what, I'm willing to do this if it makes sense. If it tends to make sense. Um, how does this benefit me? I don't necessarily need to be paid, but it's got to benefit the greater good of my life. And if it's not benefiting the greater good of my life, then you know what? I'm just going to save the 15 minutes that I would devote to this person. Sounds a little bit selfish, but thinking that anyone can devote their whole lives to just helping other people is a selfish way of thinking as well. And you need to be guarded. If you burning out doesn't help anybody, right? It doesn't help anybody. And if you become this person that's just this constant giver and always willing to give, and there's no end to it, you just create. It's kind of like the bar that offers free beer, right? I mean, you're going to have a line out the door, people wanting free beer. And there'll be people in line wanting free beer, and and be upset because it's a little bit warm or a little bit frothy. Start looking a gift horse in the mouth. Um, so um, you need to be guarded. You need to be guarded as to you how you help other people, so you don't experience burnout. But the other thing that Michael Roderick talks about in his article has to do with the flip side of this giver burnout, if you will. And the flip side of that is simply this. There are people in your world who do things for you. And you have to stop and you have to remember my accounting, my econ lesson, right? Human wants are insatiable. And you might look at that person and say, yeah, wow, it's great that they give to me. It's so awesome that they don't have any needs in their life. And that is wrong. They have needs in their life. You need to figure out what they are. Now, I know you're probably like, well, I'll ask them, what can I do for you? And a lot of times, those people are like, oh, I don't know. They're not ready with an answer when you're there asking the question. They're not ready for an answer. And so don't go with that. Don't stop at that. Figure it out. Take the time to figure it out. If you want to really endear yourself to somebody who is a giver, give to them. Take the time, figure it out, whatever it is. They've got posts. Make it a daily habit to promote their posts. Do things for them without being prompted, without being asked, without them having to answer the question. Do things for them, and you're more likely for them to have them do more for you, right? Plain and simple. Don't let them burn out. You don't want them to burn out. You want them to get great things from their lives, from the things that you do. So, if you're a giver, protect yourself. If you know the givers, protect them. Protect them. Because if you allow yourself to get burnt out, you're no good to anybody. If you allow the people in your life who are givers to burn out, then you lose the golden goose, is the best way to look at it.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.